May 22, 2026. Thomas Tuchel is sitting in front of a camera at St. George's Park. He has spent the previous 48 hours making 50 phone calls. Not to congratulate players, to tell them they hadn't made it. Some calls lasted 4 minutes. Some lasted 20. Cole Palmer's call was described by sources close to the player as difficult to understand. Harry Maguire posted on social media that he was shocked and gutted. Within 40 minutes of the squad announcement going public, Palmer's omission was the #1 trending topic in England. The Premier League's Young Player of the Year, the man who had driven Chelsea to the Club World Cup title, was watching the World Cup from home. A player who had not scored in 14 consecutive games for club and country, but a player who, in the eyes of most English supporters, was simply too good to leave behind. Tuchel sat in front of the cameras and said something that, at the time, barely anyone took seriously. I think from day one, we were very clear that we are trying to select and build the best possible team, which is not necessarily to select and collect 26 most talented players. Teams win championships. It's as simple as that. 40 days later, England are through to the round of 16. And on Sunday, July 5th, they face Mexico at the Estadio Azteca in Mexico City. That is the test Tuchel's selection was always building toward. Not Croatia, not Ghana, not Panama, the Azteca. October 2024. Tuchel's first training session as England manager. He had won the Champions League with Chelsea in 2021. He had managed Paris Saint-Germain, Mainz, Dortmund. He had a specific reputation in the game. Brilliant at defensive organization, disciplined in structure, ruthless in selection, and the detail that England supporters had either loved or feared when the appointment was announced, someone who had never managed an international squad before. What Tuchel brought to the England job was not a new philosophy. It was a very old one applied with unusual precision. Play with a shape, defend with the whole team, and build the squad around players who understood the role Tuchel needed, not players who were simply the best available at their position. The conflict this created was not subtle. England had objectively an embarrassment of riches at the number 10 position. Foden, Palmer, Bellingham, Saka, Morgan Rogers, Gibbs-White. 6 players capable of playing in the same area of the pitch. A problem Tuchel had publicly acknowledged for months. He's got an embarrassment of riches at number 10. He said all along he wouldn't be able to take all of them. The question was never which of these players was the most gifted. It was which of them fitted the specific role Tuchel needed, and whether Tuchel's definition of fits the role was correct. That question is still being answered. But what we know today, from 3 group games and 1 round of 16 match, gives us enough to test it properly. Side 1. What Tuchel saw that others didn't. When Tuchel left Palmer and Foden out, the justification was not personal. It was statistical and positional. Foden had rarely started for Manchester City since January 2026. Palmer had not scored in 14 consecutive games for club and country. Both were, by any honest reading, below their best form going into the tournament. More importantly, and this is the argument that most coverage missed, Tuchel's system does not require a traditional number 10. It requires players who can press from a front, hold wide positions under pressure, and contribute defensively when the team is out of possession. We want to give players a clear role, Tuchel said. The implication was direct. Palmer and Foden, operating at their best, require the ball, space, and creative freedom. In a system built around shape and defensive discipline, they become square pegs. What Tuchel selected instead, Bukayo Saka, who presses from wide positions and tracks back consistently. Marcus Rashford, who had rediscovered form under Michael Carrick at Manchester United and brought physical intensity to the left channel. Ebereke, who can play multiple roles across the midfield line and provides unpredictability from deeper positions. Jude Bellingham, who anchors the system's creative output while contributing significant defensive work. Against Croatia in the opening game, England's XG was 2.8 to Croatia's 0.71. They won 4-2 in a game where the scoreline arguably flattered Croatia. The system worked, at least against a team that was, by the end of the tournament group stage, eliminated after losing to Panama and Ghana. Side 2, what the critics aren't wrong about. England drew 0-0 with Ghana, a team ranked 64th in the world, in their second group game. It was described by Alan Shearer on BBC as a reality check. The Independent's headline read, dismal England serve up World Cup shocker to highlight old problem. The old problem, as English football supporters have understood for 20 years, is this. England can play with intensity and physicality against teams who allow them space. Against teams who defend deep, sit compact, and deny that space, England historically cannot create enough from open play to break them down. Ghana, ranked 64th, defended with 2 disciplined banks of 4 and gave England nothing. Nico O'Reilly headed against the bar. Kane shot over from 6 yards. The match finished 0-0. And if Ghana can do it, what does a properly coached Mexico side at the Azteca do? What does a Spain or France or Brazil do if England reach the later rounds? If I was the manager, I would have taken Palmer and Foden because in 10 minutes they can come on and make an impact, former Manchester United midfielder Eric Djemba said this week in an exclusive interview. They are very good players, and for me, they deserve to be in that squad. He is not wrong that they are good players. The question is whether being good players means they fit Tuchel's system, and whether that system can unlock a low block without the creative unpredictability that Palmer and Foden specifically provide. The honest version of England's tactical situation going into the knockout rounds is this. Tuchel built a squad of specialists. I like these decisions. They bring clarity, a certain edge that is necessary, he said. The clarity is real. The edge is real. England top Group L with 7 points. They survived a scare in the round of 16 against Drive Congo, 2 Harry Kane goals in the final 15 minutes, overturning an early deficit to win 2-1. But the injury situation is a genuine problem. Declan Rice was substituted against Croatia and was absent from the Panama game. Reece James missed Panama with a hamstring issue. Jarell Quansah went off injured. James and Quansah are both unavailable for the Mexico match. The squad depth Tuchel claimed to have built, the reason for taking Ivan Toney, who had played 7 minutes of international football under Tuchel, rather than a more proven name, is now being tested exactly as advertised. And Mexico at the Azteca is not Ghana ranked 64th. Mexico finished second in Group A, knocked out Ecuador in the round of 16, and play at altitude in Mexico City in one of the most hostile environments in world football. The Azteca crowd, at over 2,000 feet above sea level, has ended English World Cup campaigns before. This is where Tuchel's bet, the right players, not the most talented players, either justifies itself or doesn't. Go back to the press conference. May 22, 2026. Tuchel in front of the cameras, defending the cuts. He was asked whether he regretted not taking Palmer. His answer was longer than the sound bites captured. I'm very confident in the group we chose. Very difficult decisions. Painful conversations. Difficult to explain to the players. But what we try to achieve, we achieve as a team. And then, slightly later, he said the part that almost nobody quoted. I like these decisions, even if they took us weeks, months, they bring clarity, a certain edge that is necessary. Clarity, edge, brotherhood, as he called it elsewhere. These are not tactical words. They are psychological ones. Tuchel was not describing a formation. He was describing a mental environment, a group of players who all understood their exact role, who had been selected precisely for that role, who arrived at the tournament without the ambiguity that comes from a squad where 3 players are competing for the same position. Whether that psychological clarity produces better football than the individual brilliance of Palmer or Foden in a tournament knockout match is the question this video has been building toward. And the answer comes on Sunday, July 5th in Mexico City. Here is the honest football projection. Not a prediction, a framework for reading what happens next. If England lose to Mexico at the Azteca, Tuchel's selection becomes indefensible in the public conversation. The argument that Palmer or Foden would have unlocked a high defensive block at altitude, an argument that has some merit, becomes the dominant narrative. The question of whether Tuchel prioritized collective identity over creative genius at exactly the wrong level of the competition will follow English football for years. If England beat Mexico and reach the quarterfinals, the argument shifts. A team without Palmer, without Foden, without Alexander-Arnold, eliminating a Mexico side on their own ground at the Azteca. That is a result that changes how the selection is read entirely. The right players, not the best players, becomes a legitimate managerial philosophy rather than a justification for bold choices. To use a golf analogy, par is the quarterfinals. That's what the bracket expects from a side ranked third in the world. A birdie is the semifinals. A birdie means Tuchel read it correctly in May when he picked up the phone and told Cole Palmer he wasn't going to the World Cup. The difference between par and birdie at this tournament runs through Mexico City. There is a distinction in football that managers almost never articulate publicly because it sounds like a criticism of the players they left behind. Thomas Tuchel articulated it on May 22, 2026, in front of a room full of people asking him to defend cutting the Premier League's Young Player of the Year. Teams win championships. It's as simple as that. There is a difference between a squad assembled from most talented players available and a squad assembled from the players whose specific qualities serve the team's specific system at this specific tournament. England went to the 2026 World Cup as the second kind of squad. The Euros in 2021 and 2024 were the first kind, squads with enormous individual talent, results that ultimately disappointed, and the lingering sense that something wasn't quite connecting. Whether Tuchel's version is better, we don't yet know. The Azteca will tell us more on Sunday than anything the group stage could. And the quarterfinals, if England get there, will tell us the rest. What we know right now is this: the England squad that arrived in America didn't have Cole Palmer, didn't have Phil Foden, didn't have Trent Alexander-Arnold, and it beat Croatia 4-2, ground out a 0-0 against Ghana, beat Panama 2-0, and survived DR Congo in the final 15 minutes to reach the round of 16. Tuchel chose the players he believed in. He said so publicly. He took the criticism openly. He told the most technically gifted group of English footballers in a generation that some of them weren't coming. In the Azteca on Sunday, we find out if he was right. Here is what I want from you. Was Tuchel's selection a calculated managerial decision that will make sense in hindsight, or an overcorrection that removed exactly the creative unpredictability England needed against organized defensive blocks? Tell me what you think in the comments. And after Sunday, after the Azteca, come back and tell me if you changed your mind.